sewn cast on I know is one that's very similar to a long-tailed cast on. And it's a very simple sewn bind off to do. So what do? We thread our needle with some yarn. You will need for this bind off approximately 3 times the length. So fold it once, fold it twice, fold it 3 times, and then we have some extra still. So that's what you'll need. The extra is really just to comfortably maneuver things. So in this case it's almost a 4 times the width. And what you do is you start and you go through 2 stitches on the needle. 1, let me push these a little towards the tip, and go through 2, going to the left. Pull the yarn out. Oops, don't make another stitch. Pull the yarn reasonable, not snug. You can do this one too tight. Then you want to go back 1. Go back 1 and let the stitch drop off the needle. Now you do the same thing. You come here, you go 2 stitches forward, pull the yarn through, and go 1 stitch backwards. Let the stitch that you've gone backwards through drop off the needle. Come forward, 2 stitches to the left, under 2 stitches to the left. Don't let it wrap around your needle. The last stitch goes to the right and drops off the needle. 2 stitches forward. And this is it's such an easy cast off that you can see why it's a very popular. It's probably the most popular sewn cast off. As we go to the right, then we drop it off. Under 2 to the left, pull it forward, go 1 stitch to the right, go through, drop the stitch off, and repeat. Now, as you pull forward and backwards, if you pull your yarn too snug, you will get a very inelastic bind off. Oops. You don't want to do that. On the other hand, you don't want it so loose that it's sloppy. It takes a little bit of practice to get the tension right. But it is not very hard to do. And the result is a cast off that looks very similar to the long tail cast on. And that can be sometimes very useful. Long tail cast on is a very popular cast on. Having a bind off that matches the long tail cast on is something useful to have. As we approach the last stitch, and I'm nowhere near that, what's going to happen is you're going to have only 2 stitches, and what will happen is you will go through the front 2, then through the 1, and then you will go through this 1 stitch if this were the last stitch to secure it again. But so this one has gone through, so we take it off, bring our needle under 2 stitches, pull gently, back out the other one. And this doesn't matter whether you're doing there's no change for knits or purls. This is basically always done this way, though I suspect, and I suppose I should work on, you probably can do this in knits and purls just as you could do the long tail cast on in a knit and purl. But there you have it. The very simplest of cast-offs to do is one that matches the long tail. And I had these stitches off the needle before. Let me turn this one so it's both the same way. Both on the needle. Go back and off. Forward. And they both stay on. And there's the biggest problem you're going to have is occasionally you're going to do an inadvertent yarn over. You don't want that to happen. That's off, 2 forward, 2 forward, 1 back, and this creates a sort of back stitch, so it is sometimes referred to as a back stitch. Now again here, as I say, these stitches had fallen off the needle or when I was transferring them to this needle that I'm working on now, and some of them got mounted wrong, so we're just turning them as we come to them. This bind off goes by very many names: a sewn bind off, a backstitch bind off, easy sewn bind off, easy being not because it's easy to do, but E and Z, the 2 letters from Elizabeth Zimmerman, who was one of the people who used this bind off. It's very funny. I think that she avoided seaming whenever possible as part of her knitting philosophy, but she was willing to do bound bind offs, sewn bind offs like this, and I think they can be quite nice, but I think they can be quite tedious too. I only had 20 stitches here, and I think it's too slow. Okay, so here we are coming to the last 2 stitches, and what we're going to do is go through 2 as we always do, come back out 1 as we always do, drop that 1 off, and now just come forward for the last time in the last stitch, and there we have a bind off that resembles the long tail cast on. It's very, very stretchy. It's actually easier to get stretchy than the long tail cast on, which it matches, and there's an option for doing a sewn bind off.